Hello, everybody. My name is Willie. I work for Simply Dynamics. This is how the session is going to flow today. It's going to be a 5-minute maximum introduction. Then I'll hand over to my colleague Alice, who will do a demonstration, a quick demonstration. And then towards the end, we'll have a few minutes for questions and answers if there are any. People who want to ask questions can ask them as they go along in the chat if they wish, but we'll address them at the end. And as people know, this has been recorded, so you'll get a copy of the event and the recording by email automatically later in the day. Anyway. And Alice is going to flick through this pretty quickly, just to keep things on time. So if anyone wants to talk in more detail, you can book a meeting with us directly through our website on a one-to-one basis, where we'll have a bit more time. Okay, so that's how it's going to flow. Just for the benefit of people who aren't Simply Dynamics customers on the call, so we're a Dynamics 365 solution center based in City West in Dublin with 30 staff, and our core primary focus product is Dynamics 365 Business Central, previously known as NAV, previously called NAV. We lead with cloud solutions, so we still sell the on-premise solution, but 99% of our ERP solutions are cloud-based today for the last 3 years since NAV went to Business Central Online. But as I say, we can still do on-prem where it's required. And what's important is we try to go to market with standardized ERP solutions. So that's standard off the shelf Business Central. And where there's a requirement that isn't standard for a customer, instead of customizations, we try to go with add-ons. So the marketplace for add-ons for Business Central called AppSource, hosted by Microsoft, which has thousands of add-ons. So that's the first protocol for non-standard requirements in Business Central. And I'll come back to that in a little while. And then just you see from the numbers there, we're selling NAV and Business Central for quite a long time. We have lots of customers and we've plenty of experience and fairly well organized. So we know what we're doing in terms of Business Central and NAV. And here you can see actually an example of some of our clients using NAV or Business Central in the food industry. Probably know those guys' names. They're well-known Irish food companies. And so what are we about today? So we, as I mentioned, we sell a mainstream ERP system called Business Central, previously known as NAV, which encompasses all that functionality you can see on the screen. So it's not a niche ERP system. It's not an ERP system written for one particular sector. It's written as a generic ERP system that can go into every industry. And in use by hundreds of thousands of companies throughout the globe, including over 1,000 here in Ireland. So it's off-the-shelf ERP functionality for a broad range of industries, as opposed to a narrow piece of software written for a small amount of companies in a niche sector. And it's a Microsoft product, obviously. So how that worked in practical terms, then in the past, when it was NAV, we was still a mainstream ERP system, and if you come to install it in the food industry, all the little individual requirements that a food industry company would have been customizations to NAV, which meant that the client ended up with almost a bespoke piece of software, a bespoke ERP system, highly customized, expensive, and very difficult to upgrade. So that's all gone, thankfully. Since NAV went to the cloud and was rebranded Business Central, these days what we're trying to deliver is standard ERP, standard Business Central, and then for all the non-standard requirements that the Business Central doesn't meet out of the box, instead of customizations, we're going with apps or add-ons, which are available on the AppSource marketplace. And these are all certified and approved by Microsoft add-ons, written by third parties, typically Business Central partners such as ourselves and others. And what that means is you end up with a standard ERP system and then standard and certified add-ons that plug into it, almost like Lego. So the upgrades that happen every 6 months happen seamlessly. They're automated upgrades, happen 2 major upgrades a year, and actually every month there's a minor upgrade as well. So the standard software means that those upgrades will happen seamlessly. And then what it also means is that for companies operating in the food industry, you can buy your mainstream ERP system, and on AppSource you can plug in all the relevant add-ons that apply to the food sector. So you ended up with an ERP system built for food industries. But underneath it is still a Microsoft Dynamics standard Business Central deployment, and that's what we're trying to show you today. Here's Business Central, and here's what you can do with it to make it a food industry ERP system without any customizations. And here's some of the add-ons that apply to the food industry. And the first three on top there, we're going to show you now. Alice is going to show you in telepricing, which has all this pricing functionality that applies to food companies, but doesn't exist as standard in Business Central. Management of long-term agreements and rebates, and then finally catch rate controls. So we'll show you those three add-ons, and some of the other ones that we can talk to you about in another session. That every food industry that we deal with probably has a requirement for our EDI interface. So if you're using Feltrino or TrueCommerce, is to manage the messages between your customers and those platforms out of the box. Case manager for quality and complaint management. Or trade counter add-on is for if you've a trade counter in your warehouse that where people are a small shop even where people can come in and purchase goods or pick up goods. It's like a point of sale system. And then the stores logistics add-on is for managing your load and delivery planning. And then outside of our add-ons, an example of some of the add-ons on app stores from other Business Central partners are Sana, which is an e-commerce solution, so your customers can buy your products online, so you can trade online with you. Taskless, which is a mobile WMS solution for your warehouse, and then Netronic, which is a visual production planner using Gantt charts, so you can manage your production schedules in Business Central better than it can out of the box. So that's it. I'll hand over to Alice to show you what Business Central looks like and what these add-ons that plug into Business Central look like, so that you can end up with a food sector standard ERP deployment. And I'll hand over to you, Alice, there now. I'll stop sharing my screen. So we can see your screen now, I think.
Perfect. Okay. So as Willie said, today I'm just going to show you three of our apps that are designed and can be used for the food industry. But first of all, I'll just show you for those of you who aren't familiar with Business Central, or perhaps you're still on an older version of Nav. This would be one of the role centers, the Business Manager role center in Business Central. You can see here we have queues that allow for drill down into your sales order list. You can also have various charts down here. So this is kind of just the look and feel of Business Central. Also as well, you've got a very handy Tell Me where you can navigate. So maybe you want to look at your customers. You can just drill through there. You can also bookmark pages out to your role center, and the role centers are set up for, you can have different role centers in the system for your different users. This one here is just the Business Manager role center. Okay, so I'll just move on now. I'll just change the role center to our IntelliPricing role center. Most of our apps, in fact, all of our apps up in AppSource, they all have a role center that you can just navigate and use the functionality from there, or you can also search for the functionality and bookmark these pages onto your role center, your own standard role center, whatever one you're using. Okay, so this IntelliPricing app, I'm just going to actually, just for time restriction, just to let you know, I'm just in a Cronus database here. And let me see now, I'm just actually going to turn off my camera because just the bandwidth here, because I'm working locally on my own machine in a container. So this is just a Cronus database, minimal data, and just I'll just kind of bring you just through quickly enough, just for the time restriction, just fly through these. Okay, so IntelliPricing. This app, it's all about allowing you to manage your standard, your contract prices, and your listed prices. Also within IntelliPricing, you can manage promotions such as Bog Off or Banded on your sales lines, and also levies such as DRS and sugar tax levies can also be calculated using IntelliPricing. Also as well, it gives you alerts on prices unused, prices that are going to expire, and various margin alerts as well. So I suppose just, you're probably all aware that in standard Business Central, when our nav, when looking for sales prices, Business Central will always use this find best price principle that it has and returns the lowest price. But when you have fixed price agreements with your customers, I suppose you effectively need to be able to turn off this find best price functionality and use the pricing as defined in your own fixed price agreements. So IntelliPricing allows you effectively to turn off the find best price principle and use all the pricing that you have defined with your customers. So just on install of this app, it's will continue to use the standard Business Central pricing. And this gives you a chance to set up your price groups in IntelliPricing app, and then you can switch on to start using the multi-group pricing in IntelliPricing. Okay, so the idea behind IntelliPricing is you create your price groups and you link your customers to these price groups. There's no global price groups in IntelliPricing, and your price books can be defined as standard, as contract, or as listed. So they're your price books. And then you can also set up some price books to deal with promotions and levies. Also here, you can just see these fact boxes and queues, these KPI fact boxes, just let you look quickly at what customers are linked to the price book and how many group lines are on them. So you can just set up your price books here. As I say, you've got your 5 different ones: standard, contract, listed, promotions, and levies. You then add your price group lines to your price group. So as I say, I'm just very minimal data here. You'd set your start and your end date, and then you link your customers to this price group. So these customers are going to use this price group. And also another feature in IntelliPricing is that you have take effect days. So you can set up your price groups to start the prices take effect from your order date, the document date, requested delivery date, or the shipment date on your sales lines. Okay, so I think what I will do is, just as a quick demo, because I'm conscious of time, what I will do is just briefly show you the listed price group. So this would be used in a situation where, for your customers, you don't want to sell or allow any items to be put on a sales line which isn't in this price group here. So we can see here we have a number of items here. So, and our customer linked to this is customer 30,000. So for this customer, we can't add anything, any item to an order, to an invoice, which isn't on this price group because it's a listed one. So if I just very quickly, I'll just go to the sales orders. Today's date, just put up a new order for customer 30,000. Find him here in the list. Okay, and I'm just going to try and put in an item that wasn't on that price group, this one here. And we get a message straight away saying that they're not on the listed price group. This item isn't. So we'll just discard this. I'll just flick back in here. So the next I suppose good feature in IntelliPricing is the ability to manage your promotions. So you can have 2 different types of promotions in the promotion price group. And you can have your bog off promotions, which is buy one, get one free. So here in this example, I've just set up sliced bread, buy one and you get one free. Or also you could have multiples. So you could buy three brown bread, you're going to get one free. And for the banded promotions, this would be, you'd have multiple groups. So it could be like buy 2 slices of 2 white breads and 2 brown breads in a bread basket, and you get a different item free. So there's just very simple examples here. And you would set this item up here as kind of a BOM item, assembly item. So I will just show you then. So this is our promotions that we have set up, our promotions price group. We've linked one customer to this. So I'll just go in and quickly add a sales order for this customer. That was customer 3,000. I will add in, so we can see that item there. So that one was buy one. we'll add in another item. Oops, 63. And this one here was buy 3 get 1 free. And then our last item was that the banded item, and that was, so this was buy 1 of these and you get a different free product. So I skipped over here. Also, when you're setting up the price book here, price group, for these bog off and banded, you can have an order that comes in on your sales order, just to show you buy 1 of this and you get 1 of these. So I can see here, these are just standard nav notifications. I'll just say this is just demo data, so there isn't the inventory in stock here. You can see here in our tele pricing here, fact box, we can see when you put your line in, you can see that there's a promotion on this. So it just allows the user to see that there's a promotion there, and you can drill in and see what it is. So in the likes of this one here, if they only got 1 item, 1 quantity in, that they can check and see, well, it's actually, if you buy 3, you get 1 free, so they can advise the customer. So you simply then, you've all your items in, we'll just do a process promotions, and you can see your lines are inserted there. So your free items are automatically inserted. So that's done when you choose that process promotions and levies, or when you would release the sales order. Okay, so that's just it. And very quickly, I know really running out of time here, would be our DRS levies. So simply here, all you need to do is you can set up these would be your DRS items here. So your cola, 330 can, your 1 litre bottle, and you would apply the DRS item levy to it, and you can set what the levy amount is going to be. So quickly here, it's the same customer, 40,000. Let me just double check who I've linked it to. Yeah, so this customer has been granted access to that price book. So if I put in my cola can, again, just very simple. I'm just going to do quantity of 1 just to show you here. Item will be a litre, and just a quantity of 1. We'll narrow the description so you can see a bit better. And again, just processing the promotions and levies, it's putting in the DRS line for you. And you can see there, if I scroll across, it's after picking up the price for the DRS line. Okay, so probably really running out of time here now. Just back quickly, just to show you, with the price group worksheet, you can go in here and pull in your prices. You've got tools here to quickly update and adjust your prices. You can do it by percentage, value, or set price. You can also export out to Excel. We have a price checker, which allows you to check the different prices that the various customers use, just to see, are they using the prices? You'll get info here on the date this price was last used, how many customers used it, the amount that was sold. There's also another functionality for looking at prices that are been unused in a certain amount of time. So you can maybe action on those or perhaps retire them. Also prices expiring in a certain amount of days, just to keep an eye on that. You can get alerts on that. Also can have margin alerts, and that checks if the profit margin against the item is less than the margin percentage that you define here. So again, just gives you some tools there just to work on keeping your prices updated and controlling those. Okay, so we'll just move on to the long-term agreements now. So if I just switch to that role center. So the idea with our long-term agreements apps is this app allows you to set up and manage and calculate what people would, I suppose, variously call their long-term agreements, their overriders, or their rebates. And all these calculations are based on historical sales activity in Business Central, and it can be based on quantities or values. So just go in here and I'll show you. So settlement types you can have in long-term agreements. You can settle by report. You might just want to run off a report and see the settlements. Some companies might have their own way of doing their settlements. You can create a credit memo. So when you settle your settlements, when you close out your settlements, you create an unposted credit memo for the settlement. And also you can set up your long-term agreement so the settlement type is free of charge. So I'll just quickly go in here. So this is just a report. So the settlement type for this long-term agreement with your customer, you set it up by customer or by vendor. You can specify the accrual frequency and the settlement frequency. You'd set up your bands from a certain amount to a certain amount, your settlement percentage, your accrual percentage, and you can include items that will be interrogated on either by choosing item categories, or you might have it just limited down to certain items. The same setup would be for the credit memo. It's just that when you settle on this, you'd have a credit memo, unposted credit memo with this item on the line for the amount that was has been calculated. So again, you just have your bands and your items, and the same as well for the free of charge. So if I just quickly go into the worksheet, I'm just going to do a suggest accruals. Just do it for all. Again, as I say, just very simple data. As well, once you've run your accruals, not everyone will run an accrual, but it's just the option is there. You can drill in and see the different invoices that have contributed to the calculation for each of the different types. You can also see the different bands that have been applied. What band this one was from value 0 to 1, and it calculates out the value and the accrual, also the base value that was taken into account. Again, you've got your fact boxes here for your LTAs, and in ones that have been processed, you can see here just holds the amount issued to date for the year. If I just go back in here, and I'm just going to close all of them. And I'm just going to do a suggest settlements. So as I say, not every company would do an accrual. They might just do a settlement. So this one here, I'll just show you. The report is just running the report and you just close it off. But if I close this one here, see now it's going to create the credit memo. So that's the unposted credit memo, stamped with the LTA reference, and it's inserted a line there with the value of the rebate. So you can just post that off to your customer, and then the next time the rebates are run, it will exclude that credit memo in the calculation. So that's that. I think we'll briefly then just look at the catch weights. Our final app to look at today. So the whole idea of catch weights, as those of you would know, is with Standard Business Central, it doesn't allow tracking of kilogram or catch weight items by default. And the exact weight of these items can vary from unit to unit when they're catch weight. And it's the actual weight of the item that's going to determine the price. So with catch weight, ST catch weights, you can unit track these catch weight items. And you can also set up a tolerance value. So you can check that the item quantity is within various tolerance levels. So for this item here, we've just added up the standard unit weight is 0.5 and it's 0.5 of a kilo. And we're going to allow a tolerance, 10% tolerance either side. So if we put in a sales order, to show you how it works. Again, I'm going through this quickly because I'm just conscious of the time limit. I'll pick this customer here. Okay, so if I put in this first item we saw here, so if I put in a unit of 1, it's going to tell me that's 0.5. And we have a tolerance level. So if I was to go below, if my weight is going to be this, I'm going to get a warning that the tolerance, it's not within accepted tolerance level. So you can choose to either just warn the users or to block the users. And then another feature we have in our catch weight app is that you can also set up shelf life. So you can have items, I suppose it's extra functionality, standard Business Central. It only kind of gives you a basic default item expiry date functionality. But with catch weights, you can set up and enforce differing rules for goods. So for dates, minimum supplier dates coming in, and also for expiry dates on the customer end as well. So, and as well in Business Central, you've no alerts or controls to action on your items as they're approaching their catch weight expiry date. So we'll just scroll down here into this item I've set up. So I've enforced shelf life in this. So you can set up your default minimum sales life. You want to warn or block if it doesn't meet that, if it exceeds that. And on the purchase side as well, you can have default minimum shelf life. Again, you can warn or block, or you can place it into a hold location if it doesn't meet the minimum expiry date. And then also you can action on alerts. You can alert, and you have different things you might want to freeze down or set the item into a campaign location, maybe for sale to sell it off quickly. Okay. Also as well, you can set up that each item for different customers, different vendors, you can vary the minimum shelf life requirement. So it has that flexibility there. Okay, so for this item, we are going to go create a purchase order. And I'll just show it to you on the purchase order side. So goods coming in. So just choose anyone here. So we'll put in a line for our peas. Do our 10 bags. This isn't a catch weight item, so it's just has the tracking turned on. And for expiry dates, you need to use lot tracking. So we can see here our default expiry date came in for your purchase side, but if I set that date to a lesser date, it's giving me a warning there, you know, that you've broken your minimum price shelf life rules, whether you want to proceed. So that just gives you that tracking capability there. And one final thing, just to show you here, I'm running out of time, Willie, sorry, is that you can just alert on these items, and it just allows you to, I suppose, be notified of items that are approaching their expiry date. Okay, that's it. Back to you, Willie.
Okay, thanks, Alice. So hopefully, so the idea was to show you how you can boot sectorize, if you like, a standard Business Central implementation by adding these plugin apps. So everything you saw there were add-ons or apps for Business Central that applied to the food sector industry or food industry, and they're just 3 of them. There's lots more as well to add other functionalities such as EDI that I mentioned. There was only one question that was sent to me directly, was if you already have Business Central, can you get free trials of these
Yes.
apps on App Source? And yes,
Yeah,
you can.
you can. Yeah.
For all our apps, and for most of the other apps out there as well, they have free trials that you can install yourself as well, typically as well, without requiring a partner a lot of the time.
They can be installed in a sandbox. Any of our apps, you can install them in your sandbox if you want to start trialing them. Okay. And there's a 30-day free trial there as well.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the only question. I think that's it. We're bang on half an hour anyway, so we'll wrap it up unless there's no more questions come in so far. So as I said, everyone will get a copy of it sent by email afterwards anyway, and if anyone wants to organize a one-to-one, just you can book an appointment on our website.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.